Hello and welcome to this rigging tutorial. I'm going to teach how to make a mask rig. You see, and if maybe you watch Do or Die, or you're just generally interested in how these things are made, it doesn't matter. Alright, this is a beginner's tutorial teaching you the basic methods of rigging, a workflow, and all the important things. Alright, so we've got eyebrows here we can mess around with and everything. And this whole rig I'm going to teach you, so even the custom shapes and stuff. Alright, so let's get to it. So here we are in a new Blender file. Right, just open up a new one. Now, I'm just going to give you a quick warning. This took me 4 attempts. The one you just saw was my 4th iteration of this mask. So if you follow the tutorial and decide you don't like how yours came out, then you can just do it again. But anyways, so welcome to part 0 of the tutorial, where we're going to model the actual mask itself, because to rig something you need to have a base model. So first of all, we're going to select everything by dragging and selecting, and press X to delete everything. Right. That way we have nothing left. Now Shift A and add a plane. Right. Press Enter to bring up these options here, and look at the dimensions. Make sure the X and Y roughly match up how big your character's head is. For example, mine is 0.8 because that's just how big his head is for some reason. And now we have a little plane. Next up, you want to press Tab to go into edit mode, and then you see everything's already selected. So just right click, subdivide, and then just do that twice more. So you have this many. Then press 3 to go into face select mode, and click all of these edges, and X to delete faces. Now we have something that looks close to our the final thing. Next up, we just press A to what's it called, to select everything. I probably should turn these on so you can see what buttons I'm pressing. Alright, here's what I'm pressing now. Alright. Now press E to extrude it. Extrude it however high you want. I'm going to go 0.1. I'm not going to go 0.1. I'm going to go 0.05. That did not work. 0.05. Still a bit chunky for me. 0.25. I'm just putting in numbers. You can just eyeball it if you wanted to. So that's about good thickness, I'd say. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah. Alright. We will make this mask. If you want, we can curve the mask in a bit later on, maybe when we finish with the rig. But the problem is this mask will be 2D if we do that, because that's just how it works. I can't figure out how to make it 3D and extruded with thickness, quite like this one is here. But we'll see. So now that we have the actual mask rig, we have the actual mask. Now we've got to add the eyes and the mouth. Now for the eyes, it's just a case of grabbing a cube, scaling it down to the same, about the size you want, and the cursor is here for some reason. Why is that? Because if the cursor's here for you or it's off center, we just go press Shift S, cursor to grid. I always lose this. Cursor to grid, and then go select the cursor. So now we have the eyes in the middle. Just make the eyes about as big as you think they should be. My suggestion is not making them too big or too small. Just try to find a decent size, and make sure you scale down on the Z enough to make it that thin, because we want it to be a slightly 3D but not too 3D, like a slight mix between the two. I mean, we don't want it paper thin, but we don't want exactly for it to be too don't want it to be too thick. Well, okay, I just have something here that is in the way of my mouse, so we don't want it to be too thick. So choose a size that suits you. I'm happy with this. All right. Now what we need to do is we need to move this so it's perfectly mirrored with itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this tab here with the wrench, and go add modifier and find the mirror modifier here. Right now, if we go times edit mode, press all, and move it around, you can see it's been mirrored. So press G and go Shift Z, so we move on every axis but the Z axis, and then try and find a nice home for it. So the eyes should be decently far apart. So about there. Then we move it down so it's in there. It's not. So just sink in slightly to make sure that they're not far apart. So it looks good. Now we have the eyes in place, and this is just stylizing. You do whatever suits you. I'm gonna make him a little bit bigger. No, I'm not. I'm gonna make him actually can press Control Z to undo what I did, because I'm happy with how big they are. Now we got to add a bit of geometry because we want to be able to change our eyes with accuracy, sort of, and to change it so we can really move it around. So what we're going to do is we're going to go press Control R or go over here to make a loop cut and make one here and make one here. All right, and that should carry over to this side. Once we're done everything with our eye, now we just go to Control A and apply. Now we have two eyes, both exactly the same. Sorry, which is perfect. Next up, we want to make a mouth. So we do pretty much the exact same step. What I would like to do actually though is come here, go to item, and look at the dimensions. So the Z dimension is the height, which is got some really weird effects. If you go up. Oh, I think because we're upside down. No, we're not upside down. This is just got some very weird effects. Whoa. Okay, this is very weird. Oh, I know why. Actually, I know what this is. So what we want to do is, you see, there's this orange dot in the middle. Okay, and this is the origin. So whenever we move this, or rotate it is actually the best example. That origin point is its pivot point for everything, even scaling. So what we're going to do is we're going to move it so it's more in line with this. So we just right click, set origin to geometry. So now it's actually more in line with this. So now when we do this, ideally, yeah, it actually works. So we're basically just going to click this value, Control C to copy and paste, and then we're going to bring in our friendly cube. Scale it down so it doesn't really bug us too much, and then we paste it into here so they're the exact same height. Right, now next we size the cube to what we feel seems right. So don't make the smile yet. That is something that I am going to tell you now, because we're going to work on the mouth and stuff later on. I always make the smile for default thing, but it's just not a good idea. There's all kinds of problems. So we're going to make a mouth about the same size you feel like it should be. So just focus on getting the height for now, okay? Then we're going to go. I'm just thinking in my head. 5. Is it 5? Okay, it's 4. So we're going to go SX4. That is absolutely tiny. We're going to go 8. Way too big. We're going to go 6. Yeah, that could do. That would do. That will do. But we're going to minus a little bit here on this axis. Next up, we're going to add some loop cuts again. This time we're going to use our scroll wheel so we can add a certain amount. Yeah, I think 3 will do. 3 should do the trick. Yeah, I'm just thinking in my head to remember what we're supposed to be doing. So 3, it will do nicely. And now you've done it. That's it. That's the mask finished. That's the modeling aspect finished up. The reason this part of the tutorial is called part 0 is because we're not actually doing any rigging yet. We're just preparing the model for rigging. Now, what I would do next is I would add modifier to both of these, which is Subdivision Surface. Okay, go levels 2 for the sake of it. Make this 4. It depends how laggy your computer is. You can make this 4 if you think your computer when rendering it can handle it, or if you don't think so, just make it 2. Either way, you won't really see much of a difference. Just 4 makes mine look really nice. So, but anyways, come to this and it now looks like a bean or a very long cucumber, a very flat cucumber even. So, but there is a solution for this, as there is everything. Basically, you just go tab and you can see them. It's sort of affecting the mesh, but not. No, it's affecting the object, but not affecting the mesh, which is sort of all the jumble of stuff here we have. So we don't want it to look like this. So we can go into face select mode. This is a trick right now, and select these edging faces. So hold Shift to select two at once, right? Then you go in. You press 2 to go into edge select, and then you can hold Shift and hold Alt and then click. And you see we grab what's called an edge loop, which sort of is like a loop or a bunch of conjoined edges. So you can do that with the rest here. Here, I mean, for example, another version of edge loop is this. If I did this, you see it selects that loop there. The control's there if you did that because we're not supposed to do that. Then we go to, make sure this menu is still open, go to mean crease and change this to 1. Now we have a cube. We have a cube again, but you're probably asking me what was the point of all that. Well, before, if you moved this face, you would have gone this, right? But now you get this. You get this now, all right? Can't really see it that well. Let me just change this like 4. Oh, no, actually, no, I can't do that in edit mode. Never mind. See, you get this. And you see, oh yeah, another thing you can do if you think that, and if you can see these edges, right click and press shade smooth. Now you shouldn't be able to see them. You can slightly see them. So bump it up. Either way, if it's at 4, you will not see it in the render. 3, only if you look carefully, and 2, again, only if you look really carefully. So, yeah. So basically, just do the same with these eyes, which is, actually, this shortcut is you can hold Control and put in the amount of subdivisions you want for the viewport. So let's just go Control 2. You see, it'll come here 2 for the viewport. Bump this up to, oh, do not do that. Do not press that. Bump this up to 4, and then do the same thing we did here, except I can just press 3, and I can hold down Alt to get this whole edge loop here of things we want, and then we can do the exact same here. Mean crease up, done. So now here to grab these edges, these edges we can. Okay, scratch what I did just now. That was probably one of the dumbest things I said in my life. You do not do these in between edges, because if you do, then it will make the when you move those edges, which we will be doing when we make the rig, that's what the rig does. It will make them sharp, and you don't want that because it just looks weird and just not nice. So if I were to grab this now, and this is still not. Oh, why is all of this still increased? Okay, if your edges are purple, it means they're increased. You're just making sure. Just making sure of something. Alright, so now if I grabbed these two edges and moved them up, you see we have this curve about now. And the last thing to do is we go into this, go to this tab, add a material. This is for the eyes, because I press that, I click the eyes, and we may change this to black. Now you won't notice anything. Okay, then go here, press this little drop down menu and choose material 1 for this as well, and you go to this one and just choose material. Now you won't notice anything until you press Z and go down to material preview. Now you can see the actual materials. But how could I see these colors in solid mode? Because I know a lot of people animate in solid mode, so, well, since they're animating it, they probably already know. But what you can do is you can go down to the bottom of the material, and you'll see viewport display. And this is really helpful, because then you can change it to a different color, and now we can see it in solid mode. Also, my usual solid mode settings are flat and cavity. Yeah. So that concludes the first tutorial. Give yourself a pat on the back, because next tutorial we're going to get to the hard stuff. And now to save it, so I'm just going to save it down. So press Control S to save your work, and I'm going to put mine down as tutorial. Sorry about that. And then press Enter when you're finished. And now that's that done. Thank you, and have a good night.